So, full disclosure. The part of the recording you're seeing right now has been recorded before we went to Harvest Valley, because originally I wanted to do this before then, but I tried, I was not at my A game. After about 3 failed attempts, I decided, hell, maybe it would be a good idea to take a break. When I came back from my break, I forgot about it and did Harvest Valley instead. And by the way, yeah, you can actually turn off the HUD, but why would you want to? But yeah, so this is gonna be the last bit of Huntsman's Copse. There is one more optional bit, and as I said, I wanted to do it before, but I fucked up. This easily overlooked bridge is right where we need to go. It will lead us to a very small part of this area, but a part that I want to show you nonetheless, because it actually has a boss in it. This next bit is entirely optional though. Whether you deem it worth it or not is completely up to you. The treasure, in my opinion, is not really that good there, though we will find one piece of sublime bone dust, if that's what you want. But the boss itself, personally, not one of my favorites. I don't like him much. But I do know of a lot of people who actually like him a lot. But more about that once we actually see it. This player message here is really helpful in that it draws attention to the fact that we will encounter an ambush ahead. And that we should use poison. We may as well ignore that last part. You can use poison if you want, of course, but we're not gonna. But at the very least, we're gonna switch to New Game Plus here, because on New Game Plus, you see, the entire ambush is plainly visible, because it's red phantoms instead of normal grave wardens. And it's a fairly, let's say, boring fight, because you have to lure them out one by one. Well, obviously you don't have to, but it's what you will want to do. You will want to get them out one after another, just so you can safely take care of them. The weapon of the day is the Mastodon Halberd. It is one of the strongest weapons in the game. The only thing you need to look out for is its sweet spot, so you need to be at a certain distance to do full damage. And this is also the backstab animation for spears, by the way. It's probably my favorite in the game. And there to the left you see a red sickle. This actually is an artificial undead. He would not be here in New Game, but in New Game Plus he most definitely is. And it's actually also the same artificial undead that would be on top of that one building. You know, the one where I didn't show you there was an artificial undead. So theoretically you could go up there and kill him and you would not have to deal with him here. But it's just more time. It's not really worth the effort. It takes too long. It's much easier that way. Or at least faster. He will almost always drop down once you attack that last guy here with a whip. And of course we do know how to deal with them by now. But surprise, we have lightning spears too now. We switched to a faith build. Instead of lightning spear we use great lightning spear, and ever since a certain patch has been applied, we now don't really have that many casts anymore. I only have 9 casts of great lightning spear because I have 3 copies equipped. But that's all the New Game Plus we're gonna see for now. Don't worry, we'll see more of the halberd later. It will be tremendously useful to us. But first, we need to deal with that guy up here. And that item seems interesting too, but first that guy. Now that guy. The deal with him is that if you kill him right here, right now, well, he's gone forever. Unless you're a New Game Plus, he will appear again and again and again, until eventually he despawns. And he's not as hard as I make him look. As I said, this is still from my very sad attempt. So if you don't want to fight all those guys again, you can just run past them and then, you know, jump here. I don't really recommend doing this, by the way. Not that jumping here, you have to do this to get the only treasures worth getting here. The sublime bone dust, I mean, or the fire seed if you're desperate for fire seeds. But what usually happens if you do this is that while the grave wardens retreat, one or two of them might still actually come after you. So yeah, this is kind of a thing that might screw you over if you're not lucky. Oh yeah, look at that. Haha. What did I tell you? He did drop down though, so at least we took care of him now. But again, this battle here, or rather this guy in general, is not as difficult as I make him look here. He may have a big imposing weapon, but what you can do is just you dodge through it, like you would dodge any other attack of this caliber. You can easily get behind him and backstab him. And oh, I'm sure you could not help but notice that we technically entered another area. But this sadly is not a full area to explore. It's just this bit here and the next boss. Those NPC phantoms, by the way, and NPCs in general, they go by the same rules as you, which means they can be stun locked. Of course, this guy has high poise, which means that his attacks can't be interrupted as easily. In fact, I don't think I'd be able to do it with any of the weapons I'm using right now, but he'd still take more damage during attacks. Anyway, I'm just glad I took care of him now. Don't be alarmed, as we go through this fog gate we will suddenly wear different armor and be much stronger for reasons I already told you. So this boss fight has a gimmick. As I'm sure you noticed in its introduction, it is in fact a chariot, and it constantly goes in circles through this very narrow arena, which is just wide enough for it to fit through there. So we have to hide in those little niches there in order to not die. To make things worse, there's skeletons and necromancers to revive them. It's pretty important to kill those necromancers as quickly as you can, but the key to this fight is to stay patient. If you have to actually kill these skeletons or damage them and then fall back one more time before advancing further to a part of this area that makes it possible to actually fight the thing, then don't hesitate to wait for a little longer. You don't want to be caught in the middle there with that chariot for obvious reasons, because you will most likely die if it actually catches you. Now thankfully it also damages those skeletons, which is a good thing because I almost died there. Had the chariot not come and save me, I would have been dead. But perhaps, from the looks of it, I might still die. I can't really dodge out of here. But the chariot saves me again. It's still hard to get out, of course. This is one of the ways that this fight can fuck you over. In that case, it might be better to just hang back. As I said, patience is the key to this fight. In essence, you're racing down that corridor to kill all the necromancers and then finish off the skeletons. And then, there is a lever at the end of this corridor which you will want to pull, and that'll allow you to actually fight the chariot. So the lever is right there ahead of us, and let's pull it right away. But normally I would advise just looking back for a second to be safe that there's no skeletons left alive, because they can actually make this next bit really difficult. But yeah, the chariot is now gone, that it's crashed through the grating there. And all that's left is the horse, which has 2 heads. And I'm really not fond of this fight. I mean, this part is really easy, although we're a little bit overpowered at this point. But it wouldn't change much had we still been in a weaker state. The thing is that most people consider this to be a good puzzle boss, but there's not much of a puzzle to it. You just race down a corridor and pull a lever. The actual boss is still a straightforward boss. And it's not really one that I enjoy a lot. But still, there's a lot of people who actually like it, and I don't really want to take that from them. It's just that I really can't see why they like it. But if you compare it to the puzzle bosses from other Souls games, then this is definitely better, because the puzzle bosses from Dark Souls and Demon Souls kind of sucked. But yeah, basic strategy for this fight would be to bait an attack and then get to its sides to safely attack it. And oh, look, it's dead. Now, there have been a couple items in this corridor, but all of them actually are just fading souls. Let's just skip the part where I figure that out again. Where we want to be is actually right through these destroyed iron bars, and not at the other end. And the item here is not particularly fancy either, but a couple extra souls, I'll take it. Fading souls only give you very little, but that one actually gives you something that you can actually make use of. So, nothing wrong with getting that, of course. What we're actually here for, though, is up here. We can join a covenant by, well, by talking to that maniac there. But let's first rest at the bonfire.
What is it? Oh, you trot long home. This place won't be any fun. Not for you.
Alright, I forgot. In order to join, we actually first need to murder someone by successfully invading somebody and earning a token of spite. So let us go to New Game Plus, where we already have that. Now he should be more welcoming.
Oh, welcome. Welcome. Do you have a lust for blood? Yes, of course. Why else would you be here? Do you give yourself to Na Alma? Then you will need blood. Oh, lots of it. Undead blood, like your own. But it's not as easy as you think. What did he say? Join the Brotherhood of Blood? That can hardly be the whole story. I want to hear what you really think. You want more than just a little blood. You want to be drenched in blood, mired in its foul stench, am I right? Am I? Oh, just say that I'm right. Huh? I knew it. I knew it. Fantastic. You're the best. Now you are a servant of Na Alma. This crest of blood is yours. There, another servant of blood is born. You will serve well, I just know you will. Well, how are we? Whatever you need, I've got it for you.
Alright, that guy's called Tichigren, and he's creepy as fuck. He's the leader of the Blood Covenant. We can buy a couple stuff, among them the set of the Skeleton Lords, which I didn't have previously because I never come here. The Delicate String is really useful if you want to be invaded a lot, but other than that, he only sells us a couple infinite cracked red-eye orbs. He only does this New Game Plus, by the way. Oh, and some pretty decent pyromancies too. We also can get some pretty good pyromancies by advancing the Covenant, but the requirements are ridiculous.
Do you know anything about tokens of spite? Well, you can fight other blood servants with them. I'll reward you if you win, with red orbs. You know, a cracked red-eye orb. Use them to visit other worlds and seek more blood. Tell me if you need anything else. I'm very generous. Anything to get you covered in blood. Have you heard of the Blue Sentinels? They're a thorn in our sides, to say the least. Their men are obsessed with hunting down blood servants. Who cares? It's just another chance to spill more blood. Doesn't that excite you? Hmm? Do you know anything about tokens? I'm very... Come back soon.
Alright, we might go on a murdering spree later. Or perhaps even duel by using those statues. But for now, that's it. You can stick around if you want to see the boss weapons, of course. First, the Chariot lance. It looks like a really huge thrusting sword, which is what I suppose lances actually are, technically speaking. But yeah, it is a lance. It does lancy stuff. You can see here thrusts and kind of running thrusts. Running attack of lances in general, pretty good. Does repeated hits. It's pretty strong too, but not as strong as the Grand Lance, which we have been using already. The other thing we can make from it, the shield crossbow, has a gimmick that in theory seems like it could be really useful. As long as we fire or hold the button to fire, we will hold up the crossbow as though it were a shield. And when we release the button, we will fire a crossbow bolt. But it is a shield with very low stability, so if you get hit, yeah, with a strong enough attack, this will happen. Of course, it's not guaranteed that this will happen with just about every attack. And as you fire, it might protect you from an incoming attack, so it could be useful. It's also gonna be useful when trading blows with another opponent that uses ranged attacks. But overall, I kind of think that using a stronger crossbow and instead dodge rather than block is more useful, because you will be able to shoot more, because blocking of course drains your stamina. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you again next time.